This question gives you a graph chart of a firing kiln. During which time interval did the temperature have the greatest average rate of change? Remember, this phrase means slope. The answer is choice 1. So what I'm doing here to do that is I am just doing the slope between these. I'm doing 700 minus 200 divided by 1 minus 0. That's your slope formula. It's a change in y, slope is change in y divided by change in x. And if you notice, I have all of my work down here. I'm doing 700 minus 200 divided by 1 minus 0. I get 500 over 1. I did it for choice number 2, choice number 3, and choice number 4. Number 1 was the highest. Number 16 is a piecewise graph, and what this notation means is that they want you to graph y equals the absolute value of x for all values left of positive 1, and they want you to graph y equals the square root of x for all the values right of 1. So in this case, you have to ask yourself, which of these is the absolute values graph on the left? Okay, this is not it. This is not it. Okay, these are the graphs of absolute value. Okay, but now you're doing square root of x. This looks like a parabola almost. It's actually choice 2. So what I would do to kind of help yourself to look at is I would graph both of these just to kind of take a look. Okay, they want the first graph from the left of 1, and they want square root for the right of 1. So you would just ignore that other line there. For number 17, they give you two functions. It says for which values of x is f of x equal to g of x. Okay, where are they equal? So I'm going to plug in that function for f of x and that function for g of x. Where are these equal? So what I'm going to do is I am going to call this one y1 and this one y2 into my calculator. I then graph my equations. So what I'm going to do is hit second trace, which takes me to the calculate menu. I'm going to look for intersect. I'm going to move my cursor near the first intersection point, hit enter again, and then hit enter on guess. If you notice, the x value where they intersect is negative 1.75. So they're talking about for which values of x. This is my x value. So it looks like in number 3 and 1, they have that negative 1.438. They're trying to confuse you. So negative 1.75. So our answers are either choices 1 and 2. So just to confirm, I'm going to come back. I'm going to go back to the intersect. I'm going to scroll all the way over to the right using my right arrow, and then I'm going to put it on the intersection point and hit enter. Notice how it says x equals 4. So it's actually choice 2. And number 18, I prefer to do this one with an intuitive approach. Instead of doing it with algebra, I basically just created myself a list. Here's company A and company B. I noticed that the $10,000 was the first month payment, and it increased by $5,000. B started with $500, and then it doubled for each month after that. If you notice that month 8, $64,000 is finally greater than that one, so we have choice 3. For number 19, the two sets of data below represent the number of runs scored by two different youth baseball teams over the course of a season. Team A, 4, 8, 5, 12, 3, 9, 5, and 2, and Team B, so on and so forth. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put both that information in my lists by going to Stat, and then I hit Enter on Edit, and notice how my data is in List 1 and List 2. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go back to my home screen. I'm going to hit Stat. Over to Calc, I'm going to hit 1var stats. Now in some cases, some calculators are going to ask you which one you're looking at. Well, if I'm looking at Team A, then I want to make sure that I'm looking at L1. That's where I put it. So in this case, the mean is 6, and the standard deviation is 3.16. I just wrote my information next to team A. So now I'm going to do the same thing. Stat, 1var stats, and I'm going to go to, but now I have to make sure that I'm telling my calculator that it's an L2. I did that by hitting second L2. Notice my mean is 6.875, and the standard deviation is 3.05. So now you have to figure out which one of these is correct. The mean of A is less than B. So it's mean of A is less than B. So it's either between 1 and 3. The standard deviation of A is less than the standard. No, I'm sorry. The standard deviation of A is greater than the standard deviation of B. Choice 1.